this is just the reminder about it is an open meeting, and we have to follow that lovely law and adhere to all of the parts of the open meeting law. So, do any board members have any announcements? I don't have any this time either. So,
I guess the only announcement I have is this will be my last meeting with you all. So
I know.
as a member.
Yes. I was thinking about that. In fact, I was thinking, quite frankly, Gary, earlier, thinking, oh, yes, tonight the select board are making appointments. And so I was going to plan, I'm planning on going. Then I thought, well, technically, I guess it's over maybe when your last meeting. I don't know when you officially go off the rolls, so to speak. But anyway, because I was thinking, well, Mark and Gary could report to them what's going on today at the meeting, but I think I'll go anyway. So
I'll check with Diane. I might have to officially resign the position.
I don't think you do because your term expires.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's term expired, and that's why, and Mark's term expired also. So anyway.
Thank you. But thank you all. Doing great work. It's going to be an exciting time. So.
It is going to be an exciting time, and thank you. We thank you. So, and Mark, both of you, really. So, if there were no other announcements, we'll move on to accepting the minutes of the May 9th meeting that I sent out to you. Let's see, Amy's with us. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Anita. And seconding that. Sorry. Thank you, Susan. Okay, I've often wondered, because you made the motion, doesn't that obviously mean that you're going to vote? But I guess it doesn't say whether you're voting yes or no. But I mean, if you're making the motion, we can't make an assumption, can we?
Yes.
We can make an assumption that you are making the.
You can't make an assumption because some people can make a motion just to get a discussion on a topic. Not the minutes probably, but
Yeah, okay. Well, I was thinking about that and I thought, okay.
Something they may to bring it up so that there can be a discussion.
Right.
All right.
For the second, it's usually, is there any further discussion?
Right. So I will ask that since you brought it up. I do sometimes often forget that, but is there any further discussion about the minutes? We haven't had any discussion at all, so. All right. If not, we'll do a roll call vote. Anita?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Lorelei?
Yes.
David?
Yeah.
Thank you. And Gary?
Yes.
And Marge is a yes. So thank you. It's a unanimous vote. Thank you
And
all.
thank Lorelei for doing the minutes.
Yes, Lorelei.
Sure, no problem.
She's been doing a great job. They're very comprehensive minutes. So, okay, moving on then. That brings us up to the Friends report, and I think I know Holly is with us. We can wait for her to get herself. I guess she's been moved up and yeah. There's Mark.
Hey, am I on?
You're on, Holly.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm going to try to be very concise because I know Susan has to run off. And so I'm just going to read kind of what we did this past month. May was a very busy time for the Friends, and much of our time and effort was spent attending to necessary business of upgrading how we operate. We're pleased that we got another board member, Joe Berry, that we officially voted on last month. Joe has experience with websites, finances, increasing our visibility to the public. So I think he's going to add a huge addition to what we're already doing to get us out there. On May 18th, several members of the board and members and the board attended the second MCOA Fund Development Training Session entitled The Plan for the Plan. We are being asked 6 very important questions. One is to assess the level of commitment and effectiveness of our board. Second, can we expand our fundraising to support the mission and the needs of our COA more broadly? 3, can we raise the bar significantly and diversify our funding sources and financial resources? 4, could we effectively utilize additional technology resources? 5, is the environment in which we operate supportive of our efforts? And 6, and probably one of the most important, for us as a board to understand and prioritize short-term and long-term goals of the COA. And how do we prioritize that? So I'm hoping when you do your MOU, those are the kind of questions maybe you'll be asking as well, so that we can really understand what the needs of the seniors are in Littleton and where can we be the most helpful to you. Our next session is on June 21st. And that'll be the last one. It's a 3-session. We now have an email account. It's lcoafriends@gmail.com. We were also approved for a PayPal account with a Zettel card reader, 3 of them. So that will be another option for us to accept donations. We are planning on updating our Facebook page and website to incorporate online donations. And the thrift shop remains a high priority for the Friends and its members. In addition to consistent revenue for the COA and EHS, we believe the diverse population we will serve during these difficult economic times and the socialization it will provide to so many members of the community are important reasons to pursue its reestablishment. We invested in a banner and note cards to increase our visibility. We used it at the spring fling and we felt it was well received. Our 5 baskets raised $450 in net profit, and we really enjoyed and appreciated being included in this event. We have donation cards made up now in honor of or in memory of, and we hope to put this online as well. And the Friends will send a personalized note to the family acknowledging donations. Susan Hogue brought in some crocheted water balls and ice pop holders that we hope to sell at our Thursday events. And hopefully we'll have a table next to EHS. And so hopefully we'll accept donations of other handmade items, baked goods, anything that we can sell and just be out there and welcome people to that event. While we're taking the summer months off, we'll check our emails regularly and respond to any requests. And during this time, I sent the Friends of the Reuben Hoare Library website for them to look at, to familiarize ourselves with PayPals and how they operate. Hope to talk to Mark sometime to get further instructions and ideas and opinions on best practices when you're trying to raise money like that. And this month, the Friends are pleased to have sponsored the Tower Hill Botanical Garden Tour at $300. And we supported the outdoor digital photography class this month. We voted up to $750 for that. We have decided to purchase a light up number board for the bingo experience, and Barbara the Caller is researching those options. We received $630 in donations, and we wrote a check for $665 to EHS for the building fund. And that concludes my report.
Oh, thank you, Holly. Does that, a board member, anyone have any questions for Holly? All right, and I understand that Joe is with us too, and I don't know whether he has anything he'd like to say. Maybe you could move him up too, Liz. Oh, Joe Knox is here. I thought you were talking about Joe. I'm sorry. When you told me earlier, Joe was there. I was thinking about the new director on the Friends, Joe.
Yeah, Joe Barry.
Joe Barry, yeah. So, sorry. I don't mean to put Joe Knox on the spot. So, mixing my Joes up here. So, anyway. Any questions for Holly? Thank you, Holly. That was a great report. You people have been busy. You really
Thank you.
have, and that was a wonderful. I thought your raffle at the spring fling was wonderful. I was impressed with that and amazed. See how easy it is that you raised that amount of money.
Mhm.
So, in what, 2 or 3 hours?
Right.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, thanks to everyone that supported it. We were
Well,
very
that is
pleased.
true, but people are willing to support. I think that's the take-home message. Really, people
Mhm.
were eager and helpful in supporting it. So, great job.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Have a great summer too.
Thank
by
you,
the way.
you too.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, then we're going to move right on. And board members, I don't know if you caught it or not, if you looked at the agenda, but we moved the reports, the director's report and the outreach coordinator's report up to right after the Friends report, so that we weren't always in the position of having to just squeeze that in and, hustle bustle to get it done. So that's the next item on the report, and we're going to ask Liz to speak first, if she would, and give us the director's
Okay.
report.
No problem. Okay. So I've got a lot on my list here today. I'm going to share my screen real quick to the annual stats that I typically do. And are you able to see that?
Yes, we are.
Okay. In May, we had our largest number of event sign-ins for over 60 outreach with 452 points of contact. So that's our highest for the entire fiscal year so far. Event sign-ins creeped up, transportation crept back up, and our under 60 outreach is still holding strong, 157 points of contact. So major kudos to Amy and to Nicole for, I don't know, just taking on this flow of assistance that's coming in. So in playing off of that, what we did recently is formed what we're calling, name might change, is a community crisis intervention team. So this was kind of a pet project of Chief Pinard and myself, Chief Connor, and Building Commissioner Mullen upstairs. And we got together last week, and Nicole and Amy joined us with the main goal of better serving the community. Because over the past couple months, we've really seen these cases that have been incredibly complex, involving all of our departments. And we've really had to come together, sometimes at the last minute, to try to problem solve some situations and make sure that our community members are safe and cared for, and have the best possible outcome for their particular circumstance. So we formed this team. It's probably one of the most productive meetings I've ever had. We got to the police station last week, and we had our mission already written out and decided what the parameters of our group will be. We're going to try to put together a checklist. So once a case gets on our radar, that we go down our individual checklists and make sure all of the parties are involved as they should be, and each department has their priorities ticked off. So our priorities are going to be different than what like a building code or a housing code would need to meet. And then we get together and we make sure that all parties are on the same page. Another part of this committee will be, not committee, it's a team, but to identify potential crisis situations that we're becoming aware of, and start an action plan for those cases in the community, and be ready for whatever may come in the future, or try to intervene before it becomes a crisis. Another aspect of this group is to communicate better, because we notice that sometimes, like, the fire department or police department are responding to calls where say somebody is falling consistently in their home and need help getting up, or just getting multiple calls to one address. If we can be alerted to some of those situations, we might be able to go in and offer like medical equipment or adaptive equipment in the home that would help prevent these falls, or get assistance in the home, like personal care assistance, things like that. So really coming together as a group and making sure that people's needs are met. So really excited about that. And another part of this is we're putting together a program that we're calling the Littleton Safe Return Program. And this is for individuals in town who either have dementia or a developmental disability, traumatic brain injury, who have a tendency to wander away from home or have the potential to get lost or wander. So we've come up with a short letter introducing what this program is, who's involved in it, and a form that you can fill out with identifying information with the ability to attach a photo to it. And Officer Boo at the police station will receive all of these applications, and the police department and the fire department will have access to information. So if somebody does wander away from home for whatever reason, we know what they look like, have a photo of them, and have a list of their places that they most likely would tend to gravitate towards, or have something that you would be able to say to them to calm them down, something familiar or a nickname or something along those lines that would be able to de-escalate a situation more easily. So we're hoping that those might be able to go out in the LELWD bills. Just the letter letting people know that this program exists. We're still working on it, but that will be come down the road. So super excited about that. Can't wait to see what that becomes. Next on my list is COVID tests. We have quite a few COVID test kits still here in the office if anyone in the community needs them. You don't have to be a senior, you could be of any age. We were out dropping them off this morning. We have them, we want to give them out. So give us a call if you need COVID test kits. For next on my list is our new outreach coordinator position for our second outreach worker. We have 56 applications came in.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yes, 56.
Wow.
Some really strong candidates. We've narrowed it down, but there's still quite a few
Wow.
in the pool. So we'll be forming a group to screen the candidates. All of our staff here have gone through, I believe it's about 15 resumes that really were the cream of the crop of this round of applications, and try to narrow down a little more and then pull in some more, maybe a board member to assist in the interview process. So that's very exciting. Can't wait to see how that turns out. Next on my list is a save the date for the Affordable Housing Trust and Planning Board. I guess it's a joint meeting. That's on 6/21 at 6:30. Nicole, as usual, will be doing her ERAP and LRAP. Those are the rental assistance program and emergency rental assistance programs that she gives her update and report on at each Affordable Housing Trust meeting. But at this one, we'll be talking with the Affordable Housing Trust about what potentially we can do to assist better in situations where we need to find like emergency housing for someone. We don't know if there's maybe some sort of CPC funds that could be accessed for a situation like this, but we're going to have a conversation about emergency housing. And then also they are going to be having 2 professionals in the field come and talk about design of elderly housing. And that presentation will be given to both boards. So that should be really interesting to hear. So save the date, 6/21 at 6:30. And I believe that's on Zoom. And that is all on my list. That was a lot.
Wow.
Any
That
questions?
is a lot. 56 applicants. My goodness. I thought it was 37 when I talked to you the last time I heard. Oh my gosh.
They all rolled in at the last minute too.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Well,
Really good.
thank you. You certainly need the help, I think. There's no question about that. So things are rocking. Any questions for Liz before we move on to the outreach report? Hearing none. I think Amy and Nicole, Who wants to take the lead in this?
I'll go
We
first. I
moved
don't
you
really
up.
have too much because Liz really kind of tacked away at all of it. So,
Oh, well, that's okay.
but I did just want to throw out kudos to Park and Rec and to the school department. In May, we held a workshop for some of the parents of the students in the community, just around a bunch of different topics on kids and anxiety, cultivating a mindful connection between home and school, connecting parents and teachers. It was really great to see the level of interest from the community, just following the past couple of years. The school department did a great job getting it all together, and I think that they were all very happy to see the amount of parents that were willing to come out and show interest in what is happening in school and how the kids are adjusting. So it was really wonderful. The SRO Janakis was there, and he did his own presentation. It was a really wonderful event, and I hope to collaborate with them to do it again in the fall. That's really all I really wanted to touch on. So almost
Okay.
that goal as anything.
Any questions for Amy? Wow, that's amazing. Now, I hadn't heard about that program. You people, you just come up with the most innovative things. I think it's great. And this is such a been a hard time for students as well as everyone else, the whole COVID situation. So it's nice to know that people are really working together. And we have a great town for doing that.
We do.
We do. So, any questions for Amy? If not, can someone, I'll entertain a motion, if there's no further discussion, to accept the director's report and the outreach coordinator's report.
I'll move to accept both of those reports.
Okay, Marilyn
I'll second that.
and Gary. Thank you. Okay, Anita. Yes.
I'm sorry, can I just add one more thing?
Oh, certainly. Certainly, certainly.
I forgot to mention that the last Affordable Housing Trust meeting, Nicole gave a really great recap on the 3 participants in the program who are coming up on their 3rd year and how it's been beneficial to their situation, how the program has really changed things for them. So I would just recommend that people check out Nicole's presentation at the last Affordable Housing Trust meeting. She did a great job.
I'll echo that. I happen to I try to watch those meetings, and I know Susan is our rep, and she's there at all the meetings, so she catches all of this. So it's a lot is happening with the Affordable Housing Trust. In fact, they're on the board to, I guess, have a new member appointed tonight too. So on the select board agenda, I noticed. Anyway, so thank you, Liz, for that reminder, and it's true. That is, and it's helpful to be able to understand the situation and the wrap, what all of those things are, I think, by just paying attention and listening to their meetings. So, all right, back to the vote. We have a motion on the floor made by Marilyn, seconded by Mark, to accept the director's report and the outreach coordinator's report. So, Anita.
Yes.
Thank you. Susan.
Yes.
Marilyn. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Ann Lee.
Yes.
Lorelei.
Yes.
Thank you. David.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Gary.
Yes.
And Marge is a yes. So it's a unanimous vote. Thank you. Great. Okay, moving right along then. We are up to old business. And actually, when we were doing the agenda, there is also a discussion item at the select board meeting tonight, which Liz she will mention, I think, but she's going to give us an update on the senior tax work-off program. And that topic is on the select board agenda tonight, right after DHS asks them to accept a donation from Ed's Weenies. So wonderful. I think it's $1,135 this time from Ed's Weenies, something like that.
1,000, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, just amazing. The money that that little weenie hot dog stand produces. So
I know.
yeah. Anyway, So, Liz is going to give us an update on the senior tax work-off program. And she also will be talking about it today, so at the select board meeting.
Yes. So last meeting, we talked about the senior property tax work-off program, and we bounced around a couple ideas on how we could improve this program. One of my goals, and I know some other members on here were really hoping that we could get this increase so people could earn more money. So what I am bringing to the board tonight, the select board, is the proposal to increase the property tax credit for the program from $1,000 to $1,500 for both the senior tax work-off program and the veterans tax work-off program. And then to also put a cap of 100 people for this program with rolling admissions and on a first come first served basis, and a wait list in case people drop out throughout the year for various reasons. And just for some context, last year there were 98 participants who signed up, and then 78 who actually completed any amount of hours, whether it's they finished their hours or did 18 hours. So I think that having that cap will help us administratively. A lot of work went into determining that we could do this. I know the Board of Assessors met and they approved the increase in the overlay account from $80,000 to $160,000 to fund this program. They approved it, didn't think it would be any trouble. Our finance department also weighed in on this, and our assessor, our chief assessor, weighed in on this, town administrator, town council. And in doing so, we've kind of opened up a can of administrative worms on the backside on how we administer the program. So we're making a lot of changes behind the scenes in how we administer things. But I think these changes are going to be much better for the community members and also help us on the back end of things as well, in rolling this out and making it manageable, and just keeping it a great program. So any questions about senior tax work-off?
The sign up will be different as well, correct? The time that you work.
Yes. So we're still going to do the signups in July. It's going to be rolling admissions though. So if we don't meet that 100-person cap, you can sign up throughout the year. I believe we're going to go from July to March for this. We kind of have to have a transition year as we make these changes, implement the changes. But everyone who is enrolled or was enrolled in this past year that we just finished will get a letter with all of the instructions and information about the program. And then new people will have to actually come in physically in person to do the paperwork, because we'll need to do a query and see their license and things like that. So yes, a lot of administrative changes.
Any additional questions?
I don't have a question. I know a lot of work went into that, Liz. You had some pretty in-depth meetings with the town administrator and finance and everything. So thank you for all the work you put in. I think it'll be very beneficial.
I learned a lot.
Well, it's exciting, I think, very exciting, because that has been a very popular program. You're right. And it is nice to be able to expand and increase the amount, I think, that so, and I know a lot of work went into it. It wasn't just a simple over one meeting visit to some one office to get it accomplished. So
right. And we're actually making the 1,500 attainable and achievable for people. So in the past, we've kind of had to work backwards from the 80,000 to see how many hours each person could do. But now every single person will have the ability, as long as we can find a placement and a job for them, to reach that $1,500 abatement. So the assessor's office is actually going to take on some more of the administrative side. So our office will continue to do the signups, enrollments, paperwork, the spreadsheet, and then it will be handed off to the assessor's department for doing all of the payroll, time entry, things like that. And they'll be entering it as they go along instead of waiting till the very end of the year, as we've done historically.
Wow,
A
That's
lot of
great.
administrative changes. Shouldn't affect people too much, though. People who have been participating in the program for a long time. Just, we ask that people be patient with us during this transition year.
Did someone want to say something? No more comments. Wow, congratulations, Liz. I can't imagine the select board having difficulty accepting or approving it tonight, but we'll all stay tuned. So to hear what happens. We have good representation on that board now. So not that we didn't before, but I feel like we have some people with more experience with the needs of seniors now. So anyway, great. Thank you for that update. We decided that it was a little bit complex just to put into a director's report, and that's why it was on the agenda as a separate item to give you the opportunity to ask questions and understand it all. All right, moving on then. If there are no further questions for Liz, great job. Great idea, Liz. And it just goes to show there's always something happening and improvements are always, it seems as though are always being made in EHS COA right now. So thank you for that. Okay, moving on to the draft MOU between the COA board and FLCOA. You all received a copy of that. And we had, just to refresh your memory, we went over this once. It went back to the drawing board with Mark and Liz, essentially, Mark helping and making recommendations, and I think Gary had some input too. And some changes have been made. So it's back to the drawing board to see if we can, as a board, agree to this draft, and then we can get it out and share it with the friends of the COA for their thoughts and comments. I think that was the plan that we originally had in mind. So I know I came up, it was just a question of understanding a couple of things that I had questions about, but Susan, you're nodding your head. Did you have a question or at all or comment?
Yeah, I had some questions about some of it, and
Okay,
you want me to start?
sure. Why don't you start? Yeah, you might have the same question I do, you know, so.
Question to somebody else. Okay.
Yep.
In the section that is COA board and the EHS staff agrees in
Yep.
that section. On the 1, 2, 3, the second and the third bullets. To me,
Yes.
those seem the same, but Liz could probably explain why they're different.
Sure. Let me just make sure I'm reading it.
Have an opportunity to share screen here so we can kind of all.
Yeah, I can share screen. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. Can you just let me know if I'm on the right
Yep.
screen?
Yep.
Okay, so third bullet point.
Second and the third.
The second and the third.
Yeah.
Long-term planning and goals.
To include the friends in long-term planning. And then the second one was the third one was to share with the friends strategic planning. And to me, those two seemed very much alike.
Yes, you're right. Sometimes when you are reading something so many times, you miss very obvious things like that.
Just tie them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's good to have the beginning. I like the idea of the COA sharing the goals at the beginning of each fiscal year, and discussing how resources and support might help with those initiatives. That's very clear.
Mhm.
And that might be, I mean, I think those are they're not more important than long range planning, but I think it takes a different focus. That's all.
Yeah, Now that I'm reading it more, I think maybe in my head, I was thinking one was more actually
Right.
the COA staff, or the first one was the COA as a board sharing their goals and direction. And the second one is more the staff sharing their goals and how resources could be used to support those. But it makes more sense since I'm combining COA board and EHS staff to combine them as one.
Right.
So I'll just make a note for myself to combine those. Okay.
Okay, while you have this up, I just have a question about the wish list, the next one down.
Mhm.
I don't quite, it doesn't read smoothly to me. The COA board and/or EHS COA staff agrees to supply the Friends with a wish list each fiscal year. Then I lose it. That with the anticipated needs for Friends support. What's that mean?
That would,
that.
that would help. Yes, I'm missing some words.
Yeah,
Or is the word that too many?
Or just take out the word that.
Yeah, take out the word that.
each fiscal year with the anticipated needs. Yeah, for Friends support. That would do it, right?
Yes.
Okay. That was one of mine. So see, Susan, what happened?
Yeah. I had that one on my list too.
Okay, good.
So if you stay right there and you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're on the 5th one
Mhm.
where it says resident outreach needs. Should you put in there senior resident needs? Because the Friends are not going to support all outreach, all residents. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I don't see where you.
Right. And on the back, you do have it listed that way. You have it as a gift account. This, again, you stress senior in that discussion, but maybe you need to put it in the title.
Okay, where was the one, Anita, you mentioned?
It was up under COA board EHS staff agrees, and it was number 5.
Right, the 5th bullet.
1,
So-
2, 3, 4,
Because
5.
we're only
Five.
COA, not the EHS piece. Isn't that right with the Friends? They're not part. So it should only be the COA people. That's, when I
Well,
read it, that was what I questioned.
Oh, so these are just categories for, on the back end, the administrative side. So the gift account title is what I'm referring to here, FLCOA, I'm sorry, gift resident outreach. That would be something only staff sees on the back end of accounting, but I could clarify it.
So I see no reason to put senior in there because I think the fact that the Friends of the COA only support senior is part of their, they can change that at any time. They can support whomever they so choose. There's nothing that says they have to support only seniors except their current bylaws. They could change it and then you wouldn't have to re-update this MOU. And I would actually argue they probably should change it. They should support the entire department. But that's part of their business.
Yeah, Mark, that's a good point. I agree with you. I think that having them change it on their end dictates this.
Right.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
okay. Susan, did you have any more under this one?
Yes.
Okay,
On the section, the Friends agree,
yes,
the 4th bullet, they're not creating the town account. They're not creating the gift accounts. The Friends are not creating the gift accounts.
Right.
So that whole section isn't needed. EHS COA is creating the gift account.
Mhm. I think I put this in that they agree to the creation of, so they're
Yes.
on board with, kind of creating this new model for sharing funds. It probably could be worded better. So if anyone, I
would
I
just,
think I want something in there that says that they would agree to the creation if they do of these gift funds, but if anyone has a suggestion for better wording, I'd love it.
you could just say creation of COA's town gift accounts. I mean,
Or you could change creation to funding.
to the funding of town gift. Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
Do we like funding better?
I think that's more direct.
Are we, go-
Well, agree to the
Funding.
are we going to suggest in the MOU a dollar amount to be in each one of those accounts?
So down here, under the gift account categories, I just put in a placeholder of annual
Right.
amount. I would like some direction on that.
So we're gonna, let's go back and finish the one above where we say, are we going to agree to have it say to the funding of town gift accounts in the following in the two following categories?
I guess you could put, it's EHS COA's funding, correct?
Right,
I mean, you could put that in front of it if it makes it more specific, but
to the funding of EHS COA town gift accounts. Right,
yeah. That's about as clear as I think we can get.
I think so too. I agree with you.
Okay.
Okay, now we can move on down to this is where you actually have a specific amount specified. I mean, the maximum, that type of thing. Is that right? It's,
Yes.
the friends agree, and now down, and then you're just looking with, look, this is where the amounts would be specified. So Liz has asked for comments and thoughts about that. Mark, do you have any, and you've had more experience with this than I have for sure. And Gary, maybe.
On what amount to put in there? I would
Yes.
leave that up to Liz. I mean, what she thinks is reasonable. The Friends of the Library, support according to what they can support. And I don't know that what the Friends of the COA, what their budget is for this support. So, I think that's something that, is a discussion between Holly and Liz.
I think that's a great idea. I'd like to put
Yeah.
together a spreadsheet of, like I said on the first page, about looking out a year, what we would, like our wish list. Maybe I can meet with Holly, have a wish list, and base the amount off of that.
That's a good idea.
I think it could be estimated annual amount, really, 'cause that's what we're doing. There's no way, right?
Right.
So that's based on those things that you just talked about. Your wish list at the beginning of the year. So it's really a big estimate because things are going to come up.
Right.
And under that, when you put down, examples it may include, do you think adding rent as one of the possibilities? Because with the evictions happening and people needing to pay up their rent, I know you guys have a gift account to do that. And I know that St. Vincent also helps with that, but do we believe that that's a good extra example of what the Friends should be helping us with?
I mean, I think,
Outreach?
yeah, I think the outreach needs are so broad and varied that we could list 100 different things.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that just putting in the paragraph 2 above where it's under EHS staff discretion, that if the amount was in there, I would be able to justify the expense, essentially, no matter, like, whatever it is, I think would be appropriate for that. I could put in specifically rent, although I don't necessarily want to get into the business of paying rent, you know? So,
Right.
yeah, I'd like to leave it open and just say at discretion.
Okay,
It's a slippery slope.
I might,
You could change it. Go ahead, Gary.
I was just gonna say, I might put in here, the year, and that's really because this is gonna be looked at yearly.
Mhm.
Kind of forces that conversation with the friends each year you have a meeting. So maybe in front of the gift account, is it 2022 or 2023 FLCOA gift resident outreach needs?
Mhm.
You know, and then each year you almost re-signing the MOU every year because you have new needs or changing needs, right? That keeps the document fresh, where the COA,
good idea.
COA can update with you every year the changing needs of the, and what worked and what didn't, I think, as a document as a whole too.
It does say the dollar annual amount though, so
It
that would be,
that could be just an ongoing every year at the annual amount of, it's almost like I know you're going to meet with them probably yearly anyway to discuss this. I think it really speaks to it so that we're not looking at an old number that it's been updated. I mean, that's just a suggestion. We could put that anywhere. You could just put FY 2023 MOA on the top of this whole document. And then we'd have to look at
right, fiscal year 23.
and then you just updating it with the new signatures of the new board member or whoever.
Well, you could also just get rid of the annual amount from these lines and just put a line that says for fiscal year 2023, we recommend the annual, the amounts of for this account and that account, and say, you know, these, you can say like put in something like, we will make requests from the Friends of the COA in, you know, February or May, whatever month you want to say, what we anticipate the needs will be for the following year, right? So then you don't have to do it every year. You can just say what we expect, you know, say when you're going to make the request. The Friends of the Library are a little different in that they fund a couple things on a regular basis, but they also, you know, if you just go and ask them for, say, you know, the account's running low, can we have more money in the account? They just move money over to the account. While I'm at it, to address Anita's question, you could change it from critical home repair to something like critical household needs, right? And that covers.
I like that a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Any other points of discussion? I have one,
So-
Liz. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
I thought at one point we were asking the Friends of the COA to give you discretion up to a certain amount. Is that still in here? Or did I just miss it?
This is what I was meaning by annual amount.
Okay, but like if you wanted to pay someone's rent that was $10,000, you could pay that, you could on one thing, and then I'm asking, is there for a given client or a given request, is there something that you'll go to the Friends and ask them for that money before you do it? Or is it just you have this budget and within that budget you can do how at your discretion?
I think I was imagining that this would be, I would work within that amount.
So Liz, is there a number that the Friends would have to vote on to disperse as opposed to an annual? Obviously they've got to vote to agree to this annual amount. So you're saying you're going to do that as opposed to a situational basis, right?
Right. Yeah, so I mean, I was hoping that I could bring this to Holly and have a conversation with her about it and these annual amounts and what they could potentially be. I think if an emergent request came up, say we did some like a new bingo board, like she mentioned earlier, that I would make a specific request for that outside of the budget that I would typically work within. But I would try to work within these two amounts for these two categories instead of going each month.
Somewhere in here, you do talk about that any a single financial expenditure over $500, you would do a specific request. So
Yep.
if you had that annual amount, and
Yeah.
say the annual amount was $5,000 in each account, and you were dispersing it as you needed, but if something came in and you needed $600, you wouldn't take it out of these accounts, you would go and ask directly.
Yeah, thanks, Anita. I completely missed it. I read right over it.
Folks, I'm gonna have to interrupt a little bit. If we can, I don't know, try to either bring this up or we have to stop for a few minutes. I know that I had told Joe Knox to be around 4:15. And I know, I just see where Gene Sill just arrived home, so, and all of a sudden there's something wrong with my computer.
I think we should do those interviews, and
Okay, I'm back.
we should do the interviews, and then, because they're gonna make appointments tonight,
Right,
and if we have to meet again on the MOU, a quick meeting, do it separately.
okay, that's why I just wanted to point that out because I'd like to move up to the interviews and be fair. We have 3. Susan, we're not forgetting Susan, so who applied, her term has expired also. So if the board can agree to that, can we just kind of postpone the further discussion? If we have a few minutes at the end, we can do it, but if not, we'll have to just move it on. We've accomplished quite a bit today, I think, on it. And we'll maybe have a special meeting if need be, if we feel that important. So, but I'd like to not keep Jean and Joe and Susan on the fence here. So, and move along. Thank you. Okay, and because we have such 2 members who are leaving us to be able to commit and provide full-time service to the select board, we have 3 vacancies and 3 applicants. Just so the public is aware of what we're going to be talking about here. Susan Melander's term expired and she has reapplied. And so the board needs to decide and speak to Susan about that. The select board have us on the agenda tonight to make appointments for the COA. So it's vitally important that we get our job done here today. And then we have 2 applicants for the 2 vacancies created by Mark and David's terms expiring also. Just happened to be that they have another job to do anyway. So, but their terms were expiring anyway, so. And so I'm going to suggest that since I had told Joe, Susan, I know you have to leave at 4:30, but we'll get you in. But I know I asked Joe to be with us at 4:15, and it's already 3:56. So if Liz can get Joe back with us, and Jean is with David. I see her sitting there, and so I think that she's going to be able to speak when we need to talk to her. Are you in agreement with that, David? She's going to be fine there?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay, you're going to let her talk.
Yeah, we just couldn't get the other computer to plug in right, so,
Well, that's fine. I think that's fine. You're fine.
okay.
Okay. So, hi, Joe Knox.
Hello?
I'm sorry that we're running a little late. You know, and the board kind of redid things because I think most of us feel like pretty comfortable that we know all 3 of the applicants for the 3 vacancies we have. I mean, we know Jean, we know Joe, and we certainly know Susan. So we kind of have redone our, historically, the questions that we have asked new applicants for the board. And we have 3 questions for each one of you, and you can answer them. We're going to start with Joe, and I will ask any board member that would like to kick it off, and you have the 3 questions. They were sent to you. Who would like to ask Joe the first question?
I'll start.
Okay, go for it, Anita.
Okay, Joe, why are you interested in serving on the COA board?
Number one, I love serving the town in some manner, and obviously being a senior myself, I thought it was the appropriate board to apply for right now. I have a lot of interest in the things that you've been doing. I've been following you. So I decided to put an application in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, who's gonna take number 2?
I'll take number 2.
All right, go for it, Marilyn.
Joe, the COA board currently meets the second Monday of the month from 3 to 4:30 p.m. unless the second Monday of the month is a holiday, and then the meeting is the third Monday of the month. Do you expect any problems with that?
As long as I know ahead of time and I can block it out, then I'm fine with those meetings. The only time I run into problems, my schedule changes daily, but if I can block it out and tell people ahead of time that I can't be there at that time, then I'm fine.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. And just for clarification for the candidates too, you know, the board, they had a discussion at our last meeting about the time of the meeting, et cetera. We decided to wait, knowing we were going to have vacancies, and to get the input from new members too. So that's been, you know, kind of on our radar, just so you know. That's another reason. It's a good question to talk about. So. And the third question for Joe isn't really it's a brief question. I'll ask it if nobody else would like to, but do you have any questions for us, basically? So.
No, it was enjoyable to listen to all the topics that you brought up so I can get some kind of background or more background on it. And I appreciated the opportunity to be in the background for the spot. And I look forward to serving with you people.
Well, thank you, Joe. I think.
With the exception of maybe Anita, but that goes way back.
Oh wow.
And you know what, Joe? I can't wait.
Oh, any other questions for Joe? None, no. David's saying, nope, none.
Nope.
All right. All right, I think we can move along. I think what we'll do is, I'm open to suggestions. Would you like to take a vote now? Or do you want to interview everybody and then do it differently? How would you like to proceed, board?
I mean, just if Joe has to leave, I would say, let's vote on each individual position, but. just-
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's fine. We can do that easily, I think.
Mhm.
So, okay, I would like entertain a motion then from someone.
So moved.
Well, we need the
Nope,
motion.
so moved.
What's the motion, David?
Oh, I motion I'm definitely happy with everything that Joe has said, and I move that we accept him and push his name up to the select board if that's the way it has to go for approval. That's
Well,
the motion.
thank you. We need to make a recommendation to the select board that you're right. So thank you, David. Anyone seconding that motion?
Second.
Good.
Oh, all kinds of people. Marilyn, I think I heard your voice. I don't know if you were the first, but I heard yours. So thank you. All right. So we do a roll call vote for this. And where's my list of people? So I don't. I have to have a list in front of me for that, for this. Okay. So Anita.
Yes, of course.
All right. Susan,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Ann Lee,
Yes.
Lorelei,
Yes.
you, David,
Yes,
Mark,
Yes.
Gary.
Yes, I do have a question. It's kind of weird that we get to do a recommendation and an action approval.
I was wondering that too, Gary.
I don't know if we,
Oh,
If the two of us should abstain.
I really don't know.
oh,
Here we are recommending, and then 2 hours from now, we're going to be approving.
well,
our
that's true. You're right.
Well-
Well, this is, yeah, we have these little glitches that come up all the time, it seems, but, so,
So I'll change mine to an abstain.
okay, Gary's an abstain.
But in a good way. So,
Yes.
Yes, yes. I
No
think Joe,
offense, Joe.
and Gary, do you want to change yours?
I'm going to abstain, but I look forward to working with Joe on the COA. So this is fantastic.
Yeah, okay, thank you. That's a very good point. I'm glad you spoke up, like, because I keep trying to make sure we're not, it's like, even I was thinking tonight, if there were too many people there, I'm just going to the select board meeting, but we can't have more than 5 there, or there has to be a special meeting. So, I don't think you're still off in the board yet, so, anyway. Thank you for bringing that up. I would say that the vote is unanimous. We have one not unanimous. We have 7 yes, affirmative, and 2 people abstaining. So congratulations. Moving on to Jean. Okay, and it's the same question, Jean, so you have an advantage. I think they're really tough questions, but anyway, who's going to ask Jean?
I'll go with. I'll
Sorry,
go with-
could I, for the notes, could I get your last name, Jean?
Oh, Sil.
Thank you.
Sil. Okay, who was that? That's Marilyn. You said you were going to ask the question? Did you?
No, I don't know who, but I will.
I
will
did.
do it.
One of you, whoever.
Why are you interested in serving on the COA board?
Well, I've served on one board and I had a wonderful experience with that. I actually served with Ashley and Joe and Anita on the personnel, and Gary on the personnel board. And I saw the good that people do on boards. And at this point in my life right now, I have the time to serve on another board. And I'm certainly at the age where I have high interest in this board. And the most important reason why I'm here is because Anita cornered me in Donaldson's. But besides that,
I didn't twist your arm.
she didn't.
I'm seeing a theme here, Anita. I'm just letting you know.
Well, Mark said, go find some people who would be interested. So I'm just trying to follow my orders.
Well, they change the way they get the word out about this. So they don't get the word out particularly. They said you have to do your own recruiting. So it's like, okay.
That's selectmen aren't doing it anymore.
Yeah, right. So thank you. Okay, and the second question, Jean, it pertains to the time of the meetings, which you heard that. And so I don't, do you want me to repeat it verbatim?
No,
You have the gist of it, that, yeah. So I will ask you that question, and we welcome input because we've been wrestling with times of meetings and things, so. Anyway.
All right, well, as far as the times, I am slated to work till 4 o'clock in the library. So I couldn't be there before 4 because right now personnel is rather tight and we're having, I can't really take off to be there at 3:30, but if, or 3 o'clock. So, if it can be changed maybe a little later, that would be great, but I'm kind of really locked into work till 4.
Okay. Any questions for Jean about that? Or anything? No? Okay. Jean, do you have any questions for the board other than questions about the time of the meeting and when days and time? I mean, we've tossed this around. I think it's only honest to let you know, we've talked about it in the past, tossed it around about doing hybrid and Zoom. It's our understanding, we're hearing that the governor is probably going to extend the permission to stay on Zoom and use Zoom past the July 15th deadline. A month ago, we thought that it was all going away. We've heard differently lately. But anyway, we're still in the throes of it. So thank you. And we are going to be talking about that some more. And if you don't have any other questions for the board, we can move along and take a vote. So, okay, and again, Gary and Mark, I need to have somebody make a motion, please.
I make a motion to move Jean Sill forward to the Board of Selectmen tonight to be a member of the COA board.
Okay. Thank you. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ann Lee. Okay, I'm going to start with Gary and Mark this time.
I will
Gary,
abstain.
you're abstaining, and Mark? Mark, you're abstaining. Gary,
And
you're abstaining also. Thank you. Okay, Anita,
Yes.
Susan? You're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Marilyn?
I have a question.
Yes.
If, I think Jean would be phenomenal, okay, so I don't want it. But is it a good thing to have two members of the same household on this committee? I think Jean would be phenomenal to be on it, but I just wonder, and I'm a little concerned to where if she can't make it till 4 and we meet at 3.
Well, that's something I think you have to think about for yourself and how you want to vote.
I think I will abstain then because I really would like her to be on, but I see no one can answer my question about two members of the same household being on the board. On the
Well-
same board. And I think Jean would be excellent. I don't want it to,
I don't think it's not that people, I have just suggested that you have to think about that yourself, that question. But if somebody wants to answer your question and thinks they have an answer, that's fine too.
I can say that statutorily, I don't believe there's any reason that two members can't, or a married couple can't serve on the board. I believe that's even the case with the select board, believe it or not. I know that came up in the past. So if it's okay at that level, I have to assume that it's okay at this level. And just remember, you're only recommending. So this would probably be more of a discussion at the select board level anyway. But I do understand your concern, Marilyn. But as far as the statute, I believe legally it's absolutely allowed.
okay. Then I will change it to yes, because I think Jean would be great. It's just,
Okay, thank you. But that's a good point. I'm glad you asked it, Marilyn. Thank you. But I did not know of any rules, but I'm not that.
I didn't either. It was more of a
Yeah,
question and a concern.
okay. Ann Lee?
Yes.
Okay, Lorelei?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
All right, and Marge is a yes. So we have a unanimous, well, 2 abstentions and 7 yeses. Okay, moving on quickly then to Susan. We don't know Susan, so.
No.
And Susan, would you like to just share with us why you want to stay on the board? I think the board could probably speak more about that than you, probably, but anyway.
Well, I'm going to continue this theme that Anita twisted my arm, so I have to stay on the board.
No, don't put that one on me. I still blame you for being on the Board of Assessors, so watch it.
That one I didn't do. You twisted my arm. Anyway, no, I definitely enjoyed my last 3 years, my 3 years on the board. It was a learning curve. And I'm excited about continuing for another 3 years. It's going to be an exciting time for the COA board in town.
I think that was a big mouthful, and you're right. It is going to be an exciting time, and you've got some great ideas, Susan, and you haven't finished. I mean, one of Susan's pet things too, I don't know how the whole board knows this, but she is annoyed that we don't have a newspaper for this town. So
A news show, but that
a
hasn't gone
news
very
show
far yet.
or a newsletter or
I
something.
know, something.
A weekly
It hasn't gone
something.
very far, but it's back there, yes.
Yeah, she's got that right up there, right there all the time though. So and now
But
that
I believe there was a discussion with the selectmen the night of setting goals that they also shared Susan's thoughts on that.
Yes.
well, we don't need to get into that discussion right now. But anyway.
But that if she can push them and make them do it quicker.
All right, we can need to entertain a motion to to accept for reappointment Susan Melander.
So moved.
Thank you. David, that
Second
was
it.
you?
I'll
And
second it.
Marilyn, okay. And Marilyn was the second, thank you. Okay. Anita, the
Yes,
twister, the arm twister. You're gonna have a new nickname here. Susan? You gonna vote for yourself?
Yes.
Okay, good job. Marilyn? Marilyn,
What?
are you voting yes?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yes, okay. Ann Lee?
Yes.
Lorelei?
Yes.
Thank you. David?
Yes.
Okay, Mark?
Abstaining.
Okay, and Jerry?
Same.
And Marge is a yes. Okay, thank you. And we have the same situation. We have 7 yeses and 2 people abstaining.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for doing that, and so that we can get our recommendations to the select board this evening. Okay,
It's a good hand.
thank you, applicants. We will be in touch. I will be in touch with you.
well,
Sure.
do they have to be at the meeting tonight to be interviewed?
They've
by-
been invited. They have been invited. They received an invitation from Diane Dickerson. They
Okay,
don't have to be there, though. I think she said they did not have to be there,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken. So it's their choice. All right. And moving on, if I can find my agenda here, I have had myself disorganized. I think. Sorry about that. Held myself up here. Okay. All right, we have, is there any board member that needs to do an update? At all right now? We have 15 minutes left.
I thought that's what you did at the beginning of the meeting. Didn't you know?
No, well, that was, those were announcements, yeah,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Board update is, we had inserted that at the recommendation of Susan so that people could, take a few minutes to update the board about what's been going on, if there's anything like with the Affordable Housing Trust, or
Oh, that's-
Susan also is our representative at Minuteman and attends those monthly meetings, et cetera, so. Anything?
No, I'll just say in the interest of time, I won't. Liz did cover some of the things that I was going to, and so it's all good.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't want to just not
Yeah. No,
acknowledge that.
fine.
I'll say that coffee with a cop, that was my first coffee with a cop. And I think I was actually surprised. There were some pretty inquisitive questions, especially with some of the things going on in our country right now. So I think that a lot of residents that were concerned about some of the, the situation in Texas were put a little bit more at ease after speaking to some of the officers that showed up, which actually was quite a few at the end of the.
Yeah.
yeah, there were quite a few.
Good. So thank you for putting that.
That seems to be a popular thing. We've had them a few times, haven't we, Liz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have, Liz's, Peter with us
He's here.
now?
Yep.
He's here. Okay. We have one more thing, and I have to ask this question, so I'm gonna have to have him wait, and I know we're running behind, but the most important thing is, first of all, we have our annual meeting is supposed to be this meeting in June. Couple of things. I discovered there's a conflict in our rules and regs that we need to correct. And election of officers is supposed to be held at this meeting in June also. So, and then the COA board has historically, not last year, but up until last year, not met in the month of July. So we have those questions that need quick answers, and this is 417. And I realize we have Peter in the wings waiting to be heard. So first question, may I ask the board, do you wish to meet in July? Because then we could entertain a motion, change things just for this particular month. And have election of officers in July and not June. But anyway, it's up to you. If you want to meet in July, seems as though we've got the MOU that's still hanging out there. We are running out of time today, obviously.
I think we should meet in July and not in August, since you mentioned either July or August, because there are things that are left hanging.
Well, the board can always make that decision in July that they don't want to meet in August too, so.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Other thoughts?
I would say, Marge, just the fact, this is a pretty heavy turnover when you look, so.
Yeah.
2 out of the group, it's kind of nice to have them jump right in and get up to speed. So I think July makes sense, but that's reality. I won't be here, so
I know.
hopefully I'll be.
And I think your July meeting should be about 6 hours.
Yeah, I think so too.
Beautiful.
Okay. All right. Do we have anyone who is really opposed to that? And I don't want to, take too much time, but if anyone is dead set against having a meeting in July, let me speak now, please, or forever hold your peace. So otherwise we're going to move on. So, okay.
July 11th is a good time to meet.
July what?
July 11th.
July 11th. Yep. That will be the date, July 11th, and we will meet then. All right. As far as election of officers goes, what is the board's wish on that?
Wait till July. Wait till July.
I think we need to take a vote on that, though, to be sure we're doing it all right. So I hate to say that, but we do, I think.
I move that we wait until a meeting in July for the election of officers.
Second.
All right, we will take a vote for that. Okay. Anita,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Ann Lee,
Yes.
Lorelei. Lorelei, okay, thank you. David,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
and Gary,
Yes.
and Marge is a yes. All right, we have a unanimous vote. We are changing and we will appoint officers and have election of officers in July. And I think we can wait for everything else that was on the agenda until then. And quickly welcome Peter Barbella. Peter, just so you know, I did send your handout to the board last Thursday, so they had time to go over it and review it and to formulate questions. And I think if the board read it, you will understand why Peter is here. Peter is coming to us as a resident of Littleton, even though he is on the Board of Assessors for town. Correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, but I think you're not representing the assessors. You are coming as an individual resident?
That's correct.
Okay. I just wanted the board to be aware of that, so. And why don't we go right on? I'm sorry, I took away 4 of your minutes. I knew we were gonna have trouble today, but you can always come back too. We are gonna be meeting in July now, so there we go. So does the board members have any questions for Peter? He's passionate. I think that's a fair word to describe it.
I have a few words to say before questions. Is that possible?
Okay, all right, go ahead. Go right
Liz, can I
ahead.
have the screen? Hello, Liz.
She's got it.
You have it.
She's working on it.
We should be able
Amber.
to share now.
Okay, first of all, can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
And can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk to you today about the topic of senior citizens and real estate taxes. Just a few words to begin. There are at least 2 fundamental taxation methodologies in use today. The one used by our federal government is based on income, the income tax. To obtain its necessary operating funds, the federal government taxes you in relation to the money you receive. The underlying narrative is the more you have, the more you pay. The more you earn, the more you pay. There are some good arguments against that narrative, but by and large, at least from my perspective, It's a narrative at peace with my Christian ethic. Our state also uses the income tax methodology. Again, money the state needs is linked to your income. However, at the local level, we change the methodology. In this case, we rely on a real estate tax. The operating funds required by your town are linked not to your income, but to the market value of the home you live in. One argument for this is simply the thought that the nicer the house you live in, the more you have. Yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. Property or real estate tax has a long and storied history going back to the Revolutionary War. But it is fairly recent that your community tax obligation has become linked to the whims of a financial market, and one that I would say is a greed-driven market. For many, but especially for senior citizens, I think this is really a bad idea. And here's why. First of all, unlike an income tax, the real estate tax does not recognize when you retire and settle into a fixed income. Your home's evaluation continues to soar while your income remains flat. That's a very bad mix. Second, my research has uncovered several very unsettling conditions. Let me explain. If the real estate market rose by 10% and the tax rate dropped by 10%, nobody would pay an extra nickel. Everything would be fine. If the real estate market rose by 10%, and as is actually the case, the tax rate does not drop even at all, and everyone had to pay 10% more equally, that would be fine too. We all share in the burden of funding our town's needs. But sadly, thanks to a staggeringly complex set of state laws defining how homes are evaluated, that is not the case. Some homes go up 15%. Some go up only a few percent. My research strongly intimates that our state laws have unintentionally tilted the playing field against certain styles of houses. Let me show. Here's a curve that I've driven from my research. I've looked at maybe several hundred houses at random across Littleton, but I firmly believe that this curve would be the same everywhere. It's a simple curve. The vertical axis shows the average evaluation of your home.
Excuse me, Peter, but I don't think we're seeing what you're talking about.
Do you
I don't
see the
know.
graph?
I don't see a curve on my screen at all.
Do you see dots?
I see dots.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see a couple of dots.
All right. I called it a curve, but it's really a.
Okay, I'm sorry.
an
And
XY
I need to
Okay.
also just say to you, I thought that you were coming to us and you wanted us, that was my understanding, you wanted the board to have questions to ask you.
I'll get there
We knew-
real quick.
So, I mean, well, you can come back. I'm not saying, we don't, I'm trying to be fair here. But, I know that you're looking to develop some kind of a committee too. And I don't know whether or not the board, first of all, we have like 4 minutes left before we kind of have to adjourn the meeting. We're limited in our time, so. So do board members have questions for Peter?
I do.
Okay. You want to answer a question at all, Peter, or how you want to handle it?
If I can, yes.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Marilyn.
Peter, why 30 years in the same house? There are people in this town that have downsized, and even because, so they're not 30 years in their original house, but they're 30 years in Littleton. Or why 30 years? Why not 20 or 25 years? And we downsized to a 55 plus, but the taxes are absolutely exorbitant in this house, and we're about to put it up for sale because we cannot afford the taxes.
You're in a position that many seniors are in.
That's
Marilyn.
right.
And the fact is the 30 years came from a desire to get some number into the bill. It's actually thinking about going back to 25 or 20. The purpose of the length of time is to prevent someone from using the real estate market to flip houses. So we want to see someone who looks like they've been around for a while and want to stay where they are.
Yeah. Okay. That was my main question why this, and why does it have to be the original house you are in and it can't be downsized and still having a problem?
Well, as long as you've been in the house for a certain length of time, and we're shooting for 20 right now. The bill is on the floor of the state legislature at this moment. And we've got some hearings coming up and we'll be changing some of the wording.
So what is it, what was your purpose in bringing it to the Council on Aging Board, Peter?
Well, as sort of a quid pro quo, in order to put that bill on the House floor, Representative Archero asked me to form a committee, and formal or informal. And I need to staff that committee with people who are interested in the problem of real estate taxation and senior citizens. And I couldn't think of a better place to go than the COA to look for those people.
Well, count me in, Peter.
Count me in, Peter.
Whatever board I'm on, I will absolutely be part of that committee. This is
Well, Gary, one of my problems is I'd like to make this a town sanctioned committee, and I've been not successful getting through to the selectmen so far.
Right.
Help,
Thank you, Peter. I can work on that.
help. I'm not a marketeer. I'm just a ordinary person.
Thank you.
Plus, I think, I know I personally would like to have a discussion more and learn more about it too from the assessors and get their understanding. So I think there's a lot of education that, Peter, that we have to, think about. And I know I feel very ignorant myself.
Well,
Even-
you're getting a lot of assessors' opinion because I am on the Board of Assessors. If
Okay,
you've
but-
got that handout that I gave you, it clearly
Right.
shows a technique that should be applied throughout the state, not just Littleton.
Right. So I guess if I can understand, and I understand that a couple of other towns around us have adopted something similar to this. So I think there's a lot more that we could talk about perhaps.
Oh, there is. There's a
yeah.
ton.
And it's 4:30. So I really,
I'm sorry, Marge. Peter, can I make a recommendation that you put together a charter for your committee and a rough membership? And
That's a part of the handout that I gave you.
yeah, so yes. So if you have who you would like to see on the committee, roughly, what representation from town, and just give the one charter and send it to Gary or myself. We'll get it on the agenda for the select board for you to get a committee going forward,
Okay.
a town sanctioned committee. But I think you're going to want, and I can work with you on what you want the representation to be, because there probably should be someone from the COA, someone from the assessors, someone from FinCom, that type of thing. We can work on figuring out what a reasonable representation and size is.
We need
And
people
get this
with
going
creative
forward.
ideas.
Yes.
that's a great idea, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Peter, I really would be very interested in being on the committee.
Okay. There we go. There's some help, Peter.
That's what I'm looking for.
Well, I'm glad it worked out that way because it's now 4:30.
Yeah.
So I need to have a motion to adjourn the meeting. We do have an obligation to LCTV.
So
So
moved.
it's not. So
I'll
moved.
second it. I'll second it.
And that was Marilyn?
Yeah.
Okay, and who moved it?
Gary.
Gary, thank you. All right, so our last vote for the day. So Anita,
Yes,
Susan?
I think she had to leave.
Oh, that's right, we're past 4:30. Thank you, Marilyn. Marilyn?
Yes.
Ann Lee? Ann Lee, I think she left too. Looks like
Oh,
she's, I don't
oh,
see
yeah.
her.
No, I don't see her.
I don't see her either. Okay, Lorelei?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. David?
Yes.
Mark?
Oh, I'd really love to keep this going, but I'm going to say yes anyway.
And Gary
Yes.
and Marge and Mark and Gary, thank you for everything you've done for the COA. And we will be keeping track of what you're doing for sure. So, and we.
Right back at you. We'll be keeping track of you as well. So.
That's good.
All right.